About to see if it's getting oil pressure, boy. Make sure this thing fills up. Has to pump it through the whole line. So we'll see. Injectors are scaled, mass airflow, or not the mass airflow, map sensor scaled. So theoretically, it should start.
Let's see if this pig's gonna do it. So?
It's got oil pressure.
I would say so. Filled up a good chunk of that fucking bottle here.
Okay, so exhaust is blown out. So now we're going to go ahead and put the turbo on it and then give it another fire. So let's get to it. All right, so all the clamps are put on. Now we're going to disconnect each one of the coil banks, and then we have the main charge pipe off of the throttle body, just so the turbo will blow out all this stuff. But we have the coils disconnected so it can get oil pressure to the turbo. And yeah, here we go. Let's start it again. Should be good enough for oil pressure. Also, we have it running through the muffler, so hopefully it's going to be quiet.
Woo! What was that? A massive backfire somewhere.
That was scary.
Yeah, I didn't see where it backfired from.
Are you again?
Yeah.
Super quiet. Yeah, it's really quiet. Oh, it's rattling somewhere. It has this spring that opens and closes, so when you give it throttle, it'll open it up and make it essentially a straight pipe. So now we're going to reconnect the charge pipe and give it a couple reps, see what it does. Dude, that backfire was so loud and scary.
No, it produced a good flame. I'm sure you'll see it on the video.
Well, from where? Down below or up top?
Up top. It looked like it was coming out of the, it looked, to tell you the truth, it looked like it came out of the dump tube. But again, like I said, this is something we'd have to review the video on and see what it's about. It popped like the fucking 4th of July.
Yeah, that was scary, dude. Okay, here we go. See what happens. the spring making the clanking noise. So, do it again. Give it a good rev. Do it again. Well, that's it. So now we gotta go do some data logging, break in the clutch, and start to tune this thing. So, yeah, boy! Oh, all good things come to an end. So, oh, where do I begin with this thing? I had it out in the street getting ready to tune it. I loaded up some data and I started the flashing on the computer. I went inside, came back out about half an hour later, fired it up, and it was making a lot of valve train noise. So I was like, what the hell, is that the injectors pulsing? Because I changed some stuff on that as well. So I walked around to the front of the car while it's idling, and I feel on the injectors and it's in sync with how the engine's running. So I was like, well, that's weird. So I go back to the computer and I'm looking at the data and just making sure everything's, within a certain percentage, whether it's lean or rich, so on and so forth. And then I look at my gauges and come to find out there's absolutely no oil pressure to the engine. It had oil pressure at first. You guys saw it on the jug that was sitting right over in this area when I had the oil feed off. So it did have oil pressure, but just out of nowhere it lost it. So yeah, I turned off the engine immediately. So it still runs, but I don't know what damage has been done. So I need to drain the oil, check it, pull off the filter, cut it open, check it. And then I also got a high pressure, high volume oil pump for it just in case. So I'm thinking that either the oil pressure relief valve got stuck open and it was just bypassing the oil, or maybe the dipstick popped off the oil pump, which I highly doubt, but it is a possibility. So let me go ahead and get to tearing this thing apart, and I'll bring you guys along with me. So let's try to figure out what's going on with it. Okay, upon further investigation, I have to still pull the engine or drop the subframe. But if we look right there, this, where's my finger? This is the oil pressure relief valve, and you can tell right up there that there's an opening. So that means that oil's bypassing through it and recirculating back through the pump. So it's stuck open essentially. But the way these things work is the pickup tube obviously sucks up oil. It compresses the oil, brings it around right here through the port going into the engine. And what the bypass does is there's a little hole down here that pushes this plunger right there down and allows oil to go through here, back recirculating through the engine to where you don't overpressurize it. So what it was doing is that relief valve inside there was stuck open just a little bit, bypassing oil just to keep on recirculating without actually pressurizing the engine, and that's why I lost oil pressure. So here, I'll try to get it closed right now. Where's screwdriver? Oh, I'm taking this down there. There we go. There it goes. See it snap close? I don't know if you guys can see that, but there isn't an opening anymore. So yeah, I got the subframe dropped, as you can tell. I didn't drop it all the way so I could keep the alignment to where I don't have to fight it going back in. Same thing with the steering knuckle. I don't like messing with that. But yeah, it gave me enough room to start undoing the oil pan, pull it out, get the dipstick tube loose to where I can pull off the pump, and then I'll put the new one on while the oil pan's still off, bolt everything on, and then put the oil pan back up. But yeah, during the process, I decided to cut the tube that went along here for the sway bar, and then I just added 2 more nylon bushings to each side. So that way, the next time that I do have to pull the engine, this thing used to get in the way, but now it's not going to. So the sway bar will slide all the way out to where I can pull the turbo kit off really easily, and yeah, just make life easier on the car. So let me go ahead and pop this oil pan off, and let's get to replacing this pump. All right, the pan's dropped. I also got the dipstick tube loose enough on its mount right back there to where we have enough room to get the pump off. So this slides off, and there's where the relief valve is. So yep, I'm going to put the new pump on and get everything torqued back down. Put some more silicone right here, clean all that stuff up to where it meets the covers. And then, why isn't this thing focusing? There it goes. And then, yeah, we'll start throwing the car back together. So, let's get it. Pump's on, primed and shimmed. The O-ring is brand new and it's seated. Here's the old one right here. Only thing I have to do is bolt the dipstick tube on the back, just tighten it up, and put the front cover on, and then we go ahead and start reassembling. So I'll throw you guys on a time lapse for that. All right, we're like 95% of the way there. I have the spark plug wires to do. I have to tighten the oil feed down back over there somewhere. I have to do the oil feed and oil return right here. That's no big deal. Obviously, I have to do the cooling system. But yeah, everything went together fairly smooth. The only thing that I struggled with was the sway bar, because this was at a different angle. Since it's splined on the edge, it has to go a certain way. And yeah, thank God for these mounts. It actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. So yep, I'm pretty glad that I cut that. And yeah, like I said, it's pretty much finished. So I'll pick you guys up when I'm about to fire it up. All right, so everything's plugged in and ready to go. The engine's primed full of oil. I have the battery jumped over at the little connectors. So let's see if this engine's bad. Ah, I hate starting this thing. It makes me so nervous. Here we go. I mean, there's very little clicking. That might be the injector. Well, before I blow it up, I'm going to call that the end of the video. So I'll go ahead and try to run this engine and see what happens. But I really want to save it before it sends a rod through the block, because it's a 6 liter. So that's the capability of being built into something really good. So I might take that 6 liter that's somewhere over in the corner, put it in here, and just use this one pretty much as a rebuild. So the most I can say is that it runs. But yeah, I'll pick you guys up next video and we'll try to get some sort of tuning done on this thing.